All right, we're off and running. Queen, is my volume good? My mic volume, you can hear me just fine? Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. Over in your bottom right-hand corner, there is a questions box. If you would open that up, I'm curious to know how many of you are on our live webinars for the very first time. If you're a first-time visitor with us, first time you've been on any live webinars with us, just put a Y in your questions box. I'd love to see who's here for the first time. Wow, good stuff. Wow, fantastic. A lot of first timers. Well, welcome to our live webinars. They call me the Funnel Doc. You can call me Doc for short. The reason they call us that is because we specialize in either designing or promoting offers that have a funnel. Now, we won't talk much about what a funnel is tonight. We'll have a live training webinar on this coming Thursday night, same webinar link, same time, and that's more of our training webinar. What we do on our Tuesday night webinars is we introduce you to this this company that's in pre-launch, where it looks like we're about just under 60 days out from the first area being able to start viewing. And this is why we ask the question, is it crap or is it gold? I don't believe it's crap, but anytime you're dealing with a company that hasn't launched yet, you're dealing with some unknowns. And, you know, that's just the reality. I've been a part owner of a marketing company once upon a time, a few years ago, and it was a great concept, but we just had poor execution. So, we weren't a scam. It just didn't get off the ground. So what we're saying to folks is, we don't know. We don't know if this thing is crap. We don't know if this thing is gold. Only time will tell. So anyone that's saying scam, crap, that's premature. Anyone who's saying gold, I think that's premature. We won't know until we're out of what they call a soft launch, until we're live, until people are able to view, if you know what that means. If you're new and you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, just stick with me. You will in just a few moments. And until people get paid, then we'll be able to make the final assessment. But I will say this. I was watching a YouTube video the other day. One of the things I like to do is I like to work on myself, work on me. So Sam, I become a better me. And this particular personal development trainer was saying that there was I guess a survey or some folks that were interviewed. They were terminal patients, people that only had maybe a few months to a few weeks to maybe even a few days to live. And they were asking them about their regrets. What are the things you regret? The things you did or the things you did not do. And overwhelmingly, and we all have regrets, you did something, gosh, I shouldn't have turned left, I should have turned right. My gosh, I shouldn't have backed up, I should have gone forward. But overwhelmingly, the folks that were reflecting because they knew the end was near, their biggest regrets were the things they did not do. The things they did not do. So what we're going to do in tonight's training and presentation is we're going to lean towards THW Global being gold. All right, we're going to assume that she's going to be gold, knowing our disclaimer, hey, it could wind up being crap. And if so, nobody loses anything financially. If so, yes, there would be some people disappointed. But if you will follow us, I think you'll hear that our message is different than most folks out there talking about THW Global. We know better than anyone. We just have a different perspective than most. If you will follow us, whether she's crap or gold, won't mean, let me not say that right. If she's crap, you will still have a business. And if she's gold, your business will explode. So let's go to work here, okay? Our webinar objective is to reveal a potential solution to a global economic problem that plagues the masses. The second objective is to reveal to you how 10 hours a week, and that's what THW stands for, 10 hours a week, how this could be a catalyst to help you build a 6 or a 7-figure business. Now, if you're just here because you want to make a few extra hundreds of dollars a month, or a few, maybe $1,000 a month or so, then you will get more than enough in the first 30 minutes of our webinar to say, okay, let me go on and get registered, and let's see what's going to happen here. For those of you that dare to dream, and those of you that say, you know what, I've got a lot of big dreams, I've got a lot of things I want to accomplish, but I need some financial freedom and I need some time freedom to get there, then I'm going to show you how this could become, assuming she's gold, a catalyst to developing a 6 or a 7-figure business, even if all you've done up to this point in marketing has failed. All right, if you have no previous internet experience or mobile marketing experience, or you have experience but it's not Ruby experience you're excited about, it's been laced with a lot of failure. I'm going to show you how your 10 hours a week can be a catalyst to a 6 or 7-figure income. Now let's talk about some problems first and foremost. Okay. Now I know we've got a global audience here. I'm going to talk about some challenges that we're seeing in what is widely considered to be the wealthiest country in the nation, in the world, which is the United States. Because, Tyron, if these issues are plaguing folks in the U.S., you can better believe that these types of issues, at least the economic issues, are plaguing other countries, Robert, across the globe. All right, so here's what they talked about in this particular article on May 30th. They said, who's on welfare? Now, we've got a global audience, and so not all countries represented on this webinar even know what welfare is. In the U.S., welfare is basically public assistance where the United States government outlays a huge sum, $152.8 billion a year, according to one study, is going to assist families with things like food. They call them food stamps, health insurance, cash assistance programs, so on and so forth. Now, I grew up in the U.S. before I moved to my Caribbean destination there. I grew up in the U.S., so I remember this vividly. I remember being in the grocery store line and someone standing in front of me and having a little book, and it had this is what they call food stamps. Now, when you were growing up, if your parents needed assistance, you didn't want the other kids in school to know that you were on food stamps because you would get ostracized. You'd get picked on a little bit. Now what they've done is they put these food stamps on debit cards. So now you have someone in front of you and you don't even know that they're using food stamps because it's a debit card. And this is what was so eye-popping about this particular survey, is that they said that more than half of the families receiving some type of assistance for, let's say, food, are working families. These are not folks that are what people would consider bums. Hey, you're lazy. Go get your job. Why are you standing on the corner with the "We'll work for food" sign? Go get a job, you lazy bum. That's what a lot of people say or think or what have you. And hopefully we've got a following that is a little more compassionate than that. But it's not just those folks that are struggling. It's people that have jobs, people that go to work every single day and having a difficult time making ends meet. What we're going to see is that if THW Global is gold, it is going to transcend our marketing industry, our network marketing industry, because now we're going to be talking about the next door neighbor. Now we're going to be talking about that retired couple. Now we're going to be talking about that college student that just wants to make an additional few $100s to maybe $1,000 a month. They may not be here for 6 or 7 figures, and that's okay. That's okay. Okay. Let's talk about another segment. All right, let's talk about our young folks. Let's talk about our future. All right. This article says, why can't college students find jobs? And it went on to say that 22%, can you believe this, Solomon? 22% of college graduates are either unemployed, Richard, or they're underemployed, Ellen. So 22% of college graduates either can't find a job, or the job that they have, they could have gotten without going to college. And then there were shocking statistics talking about loan debt statistics for 2016. So what does this say? It said, give me just a moment here. There we go. It said that Americans are more burdened by student loan debt than ever before, that Americans owe nearly $1.3 trillion with a T in student loan debt, and that the average graduate this year in 2016 had $37,000 worth of debt. Do you think that student would like to make a few extra hundreds of dollars per month, maybe $1,000 or so per month, even if they're not into marketing, not good at marketing or what have you? And this is up from 6% last year. My gosh, that's a huge increase, a huge increase. And now down here it says student loan delinquency rates are 11.6%. Now what does that mean? That means that now you've got students who've come out of college, they can't find jobs, or the job that they have is really not in their field, or really they're overqualified, so not making the kind of money they thought they were going to make. 22% underemployed or unemployed. Now the average student is saddled with $37,000 in debt, and some people just can't pay the debt, and so they go delinquent. And in the U.S., you have something called a credit score, where if you can't pay your bills on time, then your credit score falls. When your credit score falls, when you go to get stuff like financing a car, it costs you more. Or when you go to get something like even car insurance, they check your credit scores. And if your credit scores are lower, guess what? You pay a higher car insurance premium than the same dude or the dude or the dudette that's got the same type car, same type driving record, but has a better credit score than you. If your credit scores are down and you try to go buy a house, it's going to cost you more to buy the house. If your credit scores are down and you have a credit card debt, or you go and finance furniture, it's going to cost you more. So here are some problems that's plaguing families. Not just the guy that says we'll work for food, the guy that many folks said, hey, he's just lazy, go get a job. No, he's got a job now and he still needs food stamps. And now my college students are struggling. And now let's talk about my beloved baby boomers. Those who were born in the U.S. between 1946 and 1964. And I know that many of you are not in the U.S., but if these issues are happening in the U.S., they don't get the airtime that a lot of the other stuff gets across the country and across the world. But these are real issues. By the way, I wish those presidential candidates there in the U.S. would talk about this kind of stuff instead of some of the crazy stuff that we see. And don't care what side of the aisle you're on. They're not dealing with real stuff. This is real. Baby boomers can't afford to retire. Retirees can't afford to retire. There was a study that said the labor force participation of older workers is at a 25-year high because people can't afford to retire. Nearly half of all Americans 50 and over have less than $25,000 set aside for retirement. Many people depending on things like 401ks or pension plans or Social Security. And the challenge is we can't just depend on pensions anymore. Ask the folks out of Detroit, one of the largest cities in the U.S. The city, like the country of the U.S., is basically broke. They went bankrupt. And at one point, they were discussing cutting people's pensions. What is a pension? So you work, let's say, for the government. All right, in this case, you work for the local government, the city of Detroit. You are a law enforcement officer. Thank you for your service. You are a fire person. Thank you for your service. You are a teacher. You are in the administration. Thank you for your service. Okay? So here you are. You work for the city. 20 years, 30 years, what have you. You, at the end of your working and you retire, you receive a pension. A pension is where you continue to get a monthly paycheck for as long as you live. And even once you expire, some of those benefits may even pass on to your loved ones. For a lot of people in the U.S. that work for government and maybe even for some large companies, a pension is a big part of their retirement. Now, when Detroit was going through its bankruptcy, there were discussions that as much as 20% of a person's pension check might actually be cut. Now, thank goodness it wasn't a 20% cut, but what they wound up having is almost a 5% base cut. Now, think that through. All right, here you are, you're retired. you're probably already bringing in less money than what you were making when you were working a job. You may still have bills. You may still owe on your home. You may even be doing things like raising your children's children. Unfortunately, we see that a lot, where grandma and granddad are having to raise the grandkids because the son or the daughter maybe got in trouble or what have you. We're not responsible. But now you are going to make 5% less than what you were making before. That was the first cut. The second cut was people lost their cost of living adjustment. So the way pensions typically work is every year, cost of goods and services, Harrison, go up. It costs more this year to buy a loaf of bread than it did last year. It costs more this year to buy a gallon of milk than it did last year. And what a lot of pensions have is a little a bump that says as inflation goes up, as it costs more and more to buy stuff this year than it did last year, your pension's going to go up just a little bit, maybe 3% for the year or 4% for the year or what have you. Okay, so why is that important? Because think about this over a 5-year or a 10-year period. The cost of goods and services over that 5 or 10-year period could go up 30, 40, 50, 60, 70%. Well, guess what? They said no more cost of living adjustment. What you're getting now, which is almost 5% less than what you were getting before, that's what you're going to get. And there's going to be no cost of living adjustments for you, Mr. or Mrs. Retiree. Thank you for your service. And then, this was probably the biggest slap in the face, they're doing something called a clawback, where the city said, oh, wait a minute, we made a mistake, Harvey. Arlene, we messed up. We paid our retirees over the last decade $240 million that we shouldn't have paid them. Give me my money, you retiree. We've already cut your retirement check by 5%. You're already not going to get your cost of living adjustment. And now they're going to some of these folks that have already been retired for a freaking decade. I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed to say freaking. I'm passionate about this because this is my mom. This is my dad. For some of you, this is you. Or the potential could be you. My gosh, this is one of the biggest cities in the country. And look at this. They said, give me my money. Now, they've lowered people's pensions. And for some of those folks, they're saying, oh, we paid you too much, so we're going to deduct from your check even more money to pay back this $240 million. And then the city-funded health care benefits, they were reduced by 90%. From $4.3 billion to $450 million. So the article goes on to say, given rising costs of living, especially healthcare costs faced by retirees, hey, don't you think the presidential candidate should be talking about this kind of stuff instead of the crap they're talking about? Many folks are having to pay thousands of dollars per month for healthcare costs, for doctor's visits and essential medications and treatments. And it goes on to say, the brutal fact is that Detroit retirees are facing the loss of their homes. People are 65 and 70 and 72 losing their homes, access to medical care, impoverishment, look at this, and even death as a result of the cuts. So why are we so passionate about THW Global? That could be crap. It could be. I don't know. I won't know until she launches and people start viewing and people start making money. But she could be gold. She could be gold. And when I look at what people are facing, I dare not stay silent until we find out. Because if she's gold, this is going to impact so many people around the globe. So, about 4 weeks ago, a buddy of mine who I tremendously respect, we've done business together off and on for years. He referred me to something a few years ago where we made the most money we've ever made in our marketing career. And so he sent me something. And of course, anything he sends me, because he's helped me make money, I'm going to take a look at it and see what's going on. And at first, when I looked at the website, I really wasn't impressed. But again, I respect the guy, so I read it. And it talked about this company that was launching THW, standing for 10 hours weekly. They talked about earning up to $25 an hour, watching better than YouTube videos. They said that if you were willing to invest up to 10 hours a week and comment on promotional content like commercials and TV pilot programs and movie trailers and video surveys, that they were willing to pay you up to $25 an hour, depending on what country you're in, for up to 10 hours a week. Now, I'll explain that up to $25 an hour in just a few moments. And so at first, I was really intrigued and I started digging, because what this company is talking about doing is entering the global advertising space and ultimately becoming a big player in the global advertising space. Right now, the global advertising space is a $650 billion pie. So Al Mitchell, if you just got 1% of that as a company, that would be $6.5 billion of the advertising pie, Damon. So we took a look at a site like YouTube. Now, people think that YouTube is about, watching videos, the latest videos or what have you. What YouTube really is an advertising platform. Now, YouTube is owned by Google. Google bought YouTube in 2006. If you were to separate YouTube on its own, YouTube is a $70 billion company. It would make, if YouTube was its own company, again, it's owned by Google, if it was its own company, valued at $70 billion, it would be valued higher than all of the companies in the Standard & Poor's 500, with the exception of 66 companies. And what is YouTube? It basically is an advertising platform. Go on to YouTube, watch a video, and see what pops up. There's typically going to be an ad. It might be 15 seconds. It might be 30 seconds. You can bypass the ad after 5 seconds. All right. There's an ad there in many cases on the video itself. You look up to the top right-hand corner. There's an ad or two up at the top right-hand corner. And so YouTube is generating billions of dollars. They're saying that they expect YouTube to be valued at over $90 billion very shortly. Okay? YouTube, advertising, huge player. Let's look at another huge player, Twitter. For years, I was trying to figure out, what the heck is Twitter doing? How are they monetizing all these people using Twitter? And then they started advertising. Now, I want you to get this. They didn't start advertising right away. They took some time to build a foundation, to build a very large user base. They took some time to build a very large user base. What's happening right now, assuming that THW Global is gold, is we're in that time where the company, through our efforts, is building a larger and larger user base. Then when Twitter started its advertising, then when they went public, there were people, millionaires. Millionaires were made because of that. Now, look at Twitter's advertising. In the fourth quarter of last year, they did $641 million from what? Advertising. And that was up 48% over the previous year. Twitter is not just a place for presidential candidates to share their thoughts or views or what have you, or athletes or movie stars or what have you. Twitter is what? It make no bones about it. $640 million in advertising in a 3-month period. It is an advertising platform. Let's go to the 800-pound gorilla, Facebook. Now, can you understand this? Listen, Facebook was started in 2004 on a college campus. Queen, this is why, if THW Global is gold, this is going to be so huge. And the fact that a Facebook, now the behemoth when it comes to online advertising, along with Google, it was started on a college campus, ladies and gentlemen. It was started on a college campus. What if Facebook had said 12 years ago, hey, we want to be an advertising platform and we're going to pay you to view commercials? Well, now we'd all would say, yeah, that would have been great. Back then, nobody had ever heard of Facebook. And if Facebook had done that back in 2004, guess what? There'd be people saying, that's not going to happen. Oh, that's crap. Oh, that's a scam. That's what folks would have said because Facebook was not proven. THW Global is not proven. We don't know. But what if? See, I look at the problems that people are facing economically across the globe, and that's what compels me to say, my gosh, if she's gold, we want to be there, and we want to already have things in place so when she mushrooms, when she explodes, the very first country that starts viewing, the very first people to get a paycheck, this thing goes absolutely bonkers. But I want you, I want me, I want us in place. I want us to build a foundation before that happens. So when that happens, your business explodes. Facebook, $5.2 billion in revenue the first quarter of this year. That's a 57% increase from last year at the same time. $5.2 billion. We thought Facebook, hey Carolina, we thought it was just about us being able to connect and put pictures of our children and grandchildren and friends. And hey, I'm traveling. I'm in the Caribbean. Oh no, I'm over here in Australia. Oh, I'm over here in Europe. And no, it's an advertising platform. They have you to register. They have you to tell them how much money you make so they get some demographic stuff on you. They have you to let them know what kind of things you're interested in. And then they have an algorithm. Every time you like a post, every time you share a post, they're making a note of that so they know what type of ads to serve you in your news feed. When you go in your news feed, you saw a friend of yours talking about they just got married and somebody else just had a baby and somebody unfortunately lost a loved one, and keep me in your thoughts and prayers. And then right beneath all of that, there's a sponsored ad where somebody is advertising there in your news feed. Over to your right-hand side, you've got advertising there. You access it from your mobile device and your cell phone. You've got advertising there. 1.6 billion people on Facebook, and they've not paid you and I one dime. Not one dime. And they've gotten rich. Google, real quickly, we'll start to round third on this and start to go into some more information about THW Global. Google. We all know. Well, anybody wants to find out something, what do they say? They don't say go and Bing it and Yahoo it or Ask Jeeves it, if you remember that one. They say go Google it. Well, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. If you were to go and put in an insurance keyword, there are advertisers there. And that advertiser might pay as much as $54.91 just for you to click on the link. That person, when you go looking for a loan or looking for a mortgage, they may pay up to 40 some odd dollars just for a person to click the link. So insurance keywords garner up to $55 just for us to click the link. Loan keywords garner as much as $44 just for us to click the link. Mortgage words, $47. Attorney keywords can be as high as $47 just for us to click the link. Now, that's advertising. Hey, you watch TV, what do you see? Advertising. Listen to the radio, what do you hear? Advertising. Go down the boulevard, what do you see? Billboards, advertising. You go on your mobile device, you're playing a game, what do you see? Advertising. Why do you think all these apps are free? The apps are free. Why? Because when you get the free app, what do you have? Advertising. What's all around us? Advertising. And THW Global is the first company we've seen in our space that could potentially get us not only into the advertising space, but the larger advertising space outside of network marketing. There's a lot of companies that have tried to do something with advertising, but it's primarily been network marketers advertising to each other. It's not been big business advertising. And that is what is so unique about THW Global. Okay, here we go very quickly, and we're getting to how you can make money with THW Global. Here we go. This article asks the real cost of television advertising. And it goes on to say that if you wanted to do a TV ad, let's say you were doing a local TV ad, it would cost you anywhere from $200 to $1,500 just to create a 30-second commercial. But if you wanted to do a national advertising campaign, it might cost you $342,000 just to produce a 30-second spot. Now, that's way back in 2008. That number, who knows what that is right now. But it went on to say that there were advertisers that on highly watched TV programs like American Idol, it was just their last season, that a 30-second ad on something like American Idol might garner $475,000 for a 30-second ad. So companies are pouring billions upon billions upon billions of dollars all around us in advertising. We know that with the U.S. Super Bowl, that companies poured $3-4 million for a 30-second spot. And so advertising is all around us. But here's a challenge that many big companies are now having with TV advertising. See, there was the advent of systems like Netflix, on-demand services. This article says, killed the TV ad golden goose. And what they go on to talk about is they say that while audiences are watching more television than ever, they're watching less of it live. So with Netflix, you get to watch many of your favorite shows, but then you don't have the ads or the commercials. I love my U.S.-based NFL football. I love my football, my Sunday ticket. Even in the Caribbean, I had my Sunday ticket so I could watch my Pittsburgh Steelers beat up on those Baltimore Ravens. Go Steelers. Okay. Now, what I would do is I would record the live program. And I wouldn't start watching the football game until about an hour into the game. Why? Because if I recorded the live program for the first hour or so, that meant that when the commercials came on, I could fast forward through the commercials and I didn't have to watch the commercials. Now, had they paid me to watch the commercials, I wouldn't have flipped through the commercials. But hey, they weren't paying me. But THW Global says, we'll pay you. We'll pay you. All right, so what THW Global is saying is, we being THW Global, we want to be a big player in the global advertising space. But we're just getting this part started. This division is just getting started. And Facebook is already 12 years ahead of us. And Twitter is already so many years ahead of us. And all these other advertising platforms disguised in social media are already several years ahead of us. If we're going to be able to make a splash in the advertising space, we've got to be innovative. We've got to do something, Bill, that nobody else out there is doing. And so what they came up with is, listen, it's the users that's going to help us have the numbers to be able to go out to advertisers and have them put their advertisements, their commercials, their movie trailers in front of our folks. So how about we pay the content viewers, what we call international viewers? And so it works like this. They may charge an advertiser, let's say $1.50 for a 1-minute commercial that you and I view. And think that through. $1.50, let's say, for a 1-minute commercial. Now, we would be viewing it. Why? Because we want to make money. But in our viewing it, we may actually see something that captures our fancy. And hey, I was looking to buy this product or service, or I've been meaning to do that, or there's a birthday coming up and this would be a great gift for my wife or my daughter or what have you. And now this advertiser is in front of us, and we're more likely to want to do business with that particular advertiser, particularly since we know that if we do business with this advertiser, that advertiser is more likely to continue to advertise, which in turn creates our own internal THW Global ecosystem. Think that through. Think that through. Now, real quickly, let's talk about the up to $25 an hour. Why do they say up to $25 an hour as opposed to, hey, it's $25 an hour? Well, the reason is this is global. We already have folks that have registered for THW Global in over 100 countries. An advertiser advertising to a Filipino audience, let's say in the Philippines, that advertiser is paying a lesser rate to advertise to a Filipino audience than they are probably paying to advertise to a U.S.-based audience. And it's not that the U.S.-based audience is any better or the Filipino audience is no, none of that stuff. It's just pure economics. See, the economics is this. I was talking with a gentleman the other day. I met a gentleman the other day who was from the Philippines, so this is a great analogy. And we were talking, so he was telling me a little bit about the Philippines, and I was telling him about the U.S. and telling him about my Caribbean paradise there. And in our discussion, he was saying, you know, if a person came from the U.S. and they lived over in the Philippines for just a little money, they could live like a king or they could live like a queen because the wages aren't as high there. So an advertiser advertising in the Philippines, advertising in the Dominican Republic, advertising in Tunisia, is that advertiser is going to spend less than they would advertising to a U.S.-based audience. That's why up to $25 an hour, where they can get the better, higher rates, then people are going to make more money in those countries that are viewing. Okay, so hopefully that makes some sense to you. Now what I want to do is I want to show you the money side. Okay, I want to show you the money side. Give me just a moment. I'm a little thirsty. Bear with me, please. Thank you for letting me get a little swig of water there. Okay, so now let's talk about the money. There's three numbers I want you to bear in mind. $25, $5, and $1. Okay, so for this example, I'm going to assume that you're earning $25 an hour. We know that depending on what part of the world you're in, it could be up to 25 or it could be less than 25, okay? All right, so in this example, let's say the $25 represents what you could earn when you view an hour's worth of content. Now, they will allow us to view a maximum of 10 hours a week. So if you were to view 10 hours a week, and you earn the $25 an hour, that would be $250 for the week. Now, I want to go back real quickly. When we were talking about the college students, it talked about the average that they were spending per month to satisfy their debt. And it's down here. It's a little cutoff right here. It said the average monthly student loan payment is, hopefully you can see that, $351. All right. So I want you to see how this could be a huge solution if a college student that's saddled with this college debt could view, and I'm not even talking about the marketing right now. I'm not talking about them having an email list or an SMS text list or lead capture pages or any of that kind of. I'm just talking about them viewing. And I need to say this. We're talking about up to $25 an hour per person in your household who is 18 years or older. So for my retirees, you're married. Now all of a sudden, this could be maybe perhaps when we do the math, by the way, if you do the math, that wound up being up to $1,083 a month. If you do the, hey, I could make $250 a week. There are 52 weeks in the year. Divide that by 12 months out of the year. That could be $1,083 of potential revenue just by viewing. So here's the question. If you can view a video, you can make money. If you can view a video, you can make money. But if there's a husband and let's say wife in the house, both of them can do that. Now that could be a couple $1,000 potential revenue coming into the home. And if you're like my family, where it's my lovely wife, yours truly, and my two sons that are over 18, now all of a sudden there's four of us. We could generate an additional household income of $4,332. I believe that's what that comes out to. If we maxed out our viewing, assuming we were getting to $25 per hour. That, ladies and gentlemen, transcends network marketing. That, ladies and gentlemen, the fact that a family of one could generate up to $1,000. A family of two could generate up to a couple grand. A family of three could generate up to $3,000 or so from viewing. That transcends network marketing. And that's why, even though we're still in this, I don't know if it's crap, I'm hoping it's gold, that's why we're still building. And that's why we're going to build. Because if she's gold, we'll have a very strong foundation to now erect a huge building. All right. Now, that's the first number, $25. Let's look at this $5. This $5 in time will be a lot more, will be worth a lot more to you than the 25. The $5 says that if you personally enroll, you personally refer someone to become an international viewer, and think about how difficult this must be, because they register for free. How hard is that? They register for free. So if you register your aunt, your uncle, your brother, your sister, your Facebook pal, your Twitter follower, someone in your email list, and they view an hour's worth of content, they could make $25 an hour. You would override, and you could make as much as $5 an hour when they do the viewing. So you want to max out your viewing income. We'll show you why in just a few moments. But then if they begin to max out their viewing income, they can view up to 10 hours a week. That means that could be up to $50 a week in overrides for you. Let's multiply that out by 4 weeks out of the month. Of course, we know we have those months that have 5 weeks. That means that you could generate up to $200 a month for every person that you refer if they max out their viewing. Think about that. This is why we're so passionate about this. This is why we're building systems, and we'll launch these systems even before people start viewing. For those of you that want to build a large base of people that will also be viewing. There's a gentleman on the webinar, Tyron, out of Trinidad. Tyron, are you over 400 yet? I know the last time I looked, you were right at about 400 folks he had personally enrolled. What that means for Tyron is that every person that he's personally enrolled, he could generate up to $200 a month. Now, will he generate $200 a month times 400? Probably not. Probably not. But the fact is that potential is there. So maybe he averages $50 per month or $75 per month for every person he refers. I don't know what his numbers will be. We'll find that out, assuming she's gold down the road. It's just analytics. It's just numbers. He's personally enrolled over 400 folks. And some of you might be saying, there's no way I can enroll 400 folks. Well, you keep following us. You keep following us, because you're going to have systems in place. So it's not just going to, all you're going to really have to do is get some traffic to these systems that we're developing for you, and just let the system do what the system does. And now you can build out what's called a 10-level organization. Now, if you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. You'll learn that. But it's very simple. You referred my buddy Bob Carr. So you referred Bob Carr. And Bob refers Cynthia. You referred Bob. Bob refers Cynthia. Well, when Cynthia views, Cynthia gets up to $25 an hour. When Cynthia views, Bob, her referrer, gets up to $5 an hour. But Cynthia is now in your 10-level organization. You referred Bob. He's on your first level. Bob referred Cynthia. She's on your second level. So you would earn up to $1 per hour when Cynthia views promotional content. Now, if Cynthia follows what we teach is, and I've known Cynthia for years, I know she's going to do it, and she maxes out her viewing 10 hours a week, that means you can earn $10 for the week because Cynthia viewed her content. And if she does that, multiply that times, let's say 4 weeks out of the month, that means you can earn $40 a month for everyone in your 10-level organization. Now, will you earn $40 for everyone in your organization? It's unlikely that it happens. It never happens perfectly like that. But what if you build a large organization and all of a sudden you've got a few hundred, then a few thousand, then a few tens of thousands, and everybody just averages viewing 1 or 2 hours a week, and you're making $1 to $2 a week for everyone in your 10-level organization. So let me show you just how big this could be. Now, these numbers I'm about to show you, these are so old. I haven't updated these in quite some time. Bear with me. Give me a moment. Uh-oh. I'm having a technical problem here. Give me a moment. By the way, I want to answer something real quickly, and then I'll try to get, there we go. Okay. I want to answer something real quickly, because a lot of people say, well, how can they pay? I mean, there could be millions of us, tens of millions of us watching this content. How can they pay that kind of money? Well, they're not paying, they are paying us, but they're paying us because they're charging the advertisers. Mark Zuckerberg, this dude is worth $48.7 billion. You and I have helped contribute to this. If you have a Facebook account and you log into your Facebook account, guess what? He thanks you. You and I have helped to contribute to his massive fortune, because he's not shared any of that with us. And I'm sure he's got other folks on the board of directors that they're worth tens of millions, hundreds of millions, maybe a few billion here and there. THW Global is saying, we'll pay you. We'll pay you. So now, let's take a look at a few things here real quickly. Okay? This is so old. This is one of our top leaders. And I think this was after a week of promoting THW Global. All right, so on the first level, they have 270 folks they personally enrolled. And they had 800 on the second level and 645 on the third. All right, so at that time, they had just about 3,000 folks. All right, this is about probably 3 weeks old, so these numbers are way up there. They're probably over 5 figures, I would imagine. They're probably over 10,000 now. Well, so if everybody just viewed, on average, 1 hour's worth of content, and they made $1, somebody's going to view 10 hours, somebody's going to view 8, somebody's going to view 2, somebody's not going to view any, okay? Then that would mean that for the week, they would have made about $3,000 for the week. And if you protract that out over a month's time, that could be over $12,000 a month. This was 1 week's worth of them promoting, and not even knowing if it was gold. They were hoping, wishing, praying, I hope it's gold. What if they averaged 2 hours of viewing a week? 3,000 people averaging 2 hours of viewing a week. That could be about $6,000 a week. $24,000, $25,000 a month. This was one week of them promoting. I love this one because this is a retiree, and they're not a big recruiter. All right. And this goes from, this was between, I think we do Tuesday and Thursday night webinars. They sent me a picture on a Tuesday night, and then just a couple days later, this was on a Thursday night. But you can see they only personally referred one person. All right, they're not a big recruiter. They referred one person. Their one person referred one person, and then that one person referred a few, 156 at that point. And that led to 742 on the fourth level and 1215 on the fifth level and so on and so forth. 4,200 folks. A few days later, there was 5,100 folks. This person here that referred the one person is a retiree. This person is a retiree. So now all of a sudden, if 5,000 people view on average 1 hour a week, that could be $5,000 a week for this retiree. So why do we keep doing these live webinars? Even though we might be 60 days or so away from people starting to view? Why are we doing the trainings that we send out via our email list? Why are we doing Thursday night webinars? Because what if it's gold? What if it's gold? How does that change that retiree's life? My gosh. And look at all the other people that would be impacted. This person right here. All right, this person right here. These 5,000 folks are also in this person's organization. And they maybe haven't done that much. Okay? All right, so now I want to share with you, I've got 7 minutes. Let's see if we can do this in 7 minutes. I want to show you how to take this concept and let's move this from just you and I viewing to potentially a 6 or 7 figure business. Because what you just saw is definitely the potential of a 6 or 7 figure business. How you arrive at having a team of hundreds and then a team of thousands and then a team of tens of thousands is going to be something that you really want to design. My retiree was fortunate that somebody in the organization happened to get the vision and go to work. I don't want you to base your potentially getting to 6 or 7 figures on fortune. I want you to base it on intention. So here is what we are calling folks to do. We're calling folks to honor what we call the 10-hour pledge, which has a few precepts. All right. Precept number 1 is that you covenant to maximize your viewing income. Maximize the 10 hours a week. Once viewing starts, maximize the 10 hours a week. That's the first precept of the 10-hour pledge. The second precept of the 10-hour pledge is that you covenant to recap or recapitalize or reinvest back into your business. The reason that most marketers fail is not because of lack of trying or lack of desire. It's because they don't have the proper tools, the proper resources, and they're not consistently driving high quality, laser targeted traffic to their offer. Well, one of the reasons people are not driving high quality, laser targeted traffic to their offer using paid traffic versus free traffic. You can't depend on free traffic. I get a lot of traffic from my YouTube videos, but I can't say that, oh, when I post this video, I'm going to get 1,000 visits to my site. What I can do is I can go to a number of places online and say, I want to buy 1,000 visits to my site. Here's the money. Send 1,000 visitors to my site. That I can start to bank on. That becomes a numbers game. You start to figure out for every 1,000 visitors coming to my site, how many will opt into an email or an SMS text capture page. And of those people that opt in, how many of those are going to wind up joining? And of those people that join, how many of them are going to wind up viewing? All of that just becomes numbers. The problem is most people are not engaged in any type of consistent advertising, paid traffic type of marketing. One of the reasons they are not is because they don't have the budget. Well, now all of a sudden, if you are generating up to, we know in some countries it will be less, but up to $1,000, we're saying take 50% minimum to as much as 100% of that. Use that, Barbara, as a seed. It's a marketing seed. And I'm going to use that. I'm not going to go out and buy doodads with that. Yes, you might need to catch up on some stuff. That's why we say a minimum of 50%. So if you have to put half of that in your pocket to pay some bills or what have you, go do it. Go do it. But I want you to put no less than 50%, as much as 100% of your viewing income into marketing. Now, what does that mean? That there's certain tools you have to have if you're going to be successful in marketing. There's a gentleman that when this came across my desk, I immediately sent out an email because I have a commercial autoresponder. So it makes it easier for me to communicate with thousands of people with the push of one button. I had a lot of people that responded and joined with me because I pushed the button. I sent out an email and I pushed the button. They were in my autoresponder. There was one gentleman in particular who had already seen THW Global and he was going to join. Because he's in my list, because I've brought value to my list for years, he's been in my list for years. I didn't know he had seen my email. I didn't just send him an email directly. He was in my list. He says, "Hey, Doc, send me your link. I didn't know you were doing this. I saw it and I was going to register, but hey, I'll register with you." Okay, I send him my link. 24 hours later, dude has personally referred 192 registrants. Well, now when you understand the compensation plan, he could earn $5 per hour times those 192 as they view. I could earn $1 per hour times those 192 as they view. And now that gentleman's organization is multiple thousands, probably 5 figures. I haven't checked here lately. You know who I'm talking about, the person that I'm talking to specifically. Hey, do me a favor. In the questions box, if you're still here, I saw you earlier. Just put what your numbers are now, just the overall 10 levels. I'd be interested to see what that number is. All right, so my point is that there are thousands of people in my organization because one dude responded to an email I sent out. But if I don't have a commercial autoresponder and he's not in my list, guess what? He joins, but he joins someone else. And so someone else becomes the beneficiary of his efforts and his team and his leaders. All right, so you're going to want some tools and resources. We're going to be launching a couple of tools over the next few weeks. One called the Funnel Blueprint. We'll talk about that more on Thursday night. And another one is going to be a mobile marketing platform. Both of those are going to help you promote THW Global. The beautiful part about both of those is that both of those also are standalone income streams. So if THW Global winds up being crap, we'll be disappointed, but you'll have 2 additional income streams because we're all about helping our audience develop multiple streams of income across multiple niches so that ultimately you have the financial freedom and the time freedom to highly pursue the passions of your heart. And especially when I start to talk about the mobile system, that you want to talk about a kick butt, standalone, all by itself. I could build my entire business, a 6-7 figure business just around that mobile platform. You'll hear about that in the coming days and coming weeks. So you want to have the tools and you want to have the resources. And now you can use this viewing income to help you offset the outlays for those tools. But more importantly, then you want to have a monthly advertising budget. So let me show you how this works real quickly, and we'll start rounding third. Let's say you were doing an advertising promotion where you were getting, let's say, 1,000 clicks, 1,000 visits to your website. Now, with our funnel blueprint, we'll talk more about this on this coming Thursday. You're going to have in time a number of different funnels. The funnel, basically, let's just call it for right now, for lack of a better word, different sales presentations, okay, that target maybe different audiences. All right, you'll capture the lead. You'll get the person to give you your their email address. You'll have a lead capture page. You'll have an autoresponder, and then it will automatically start sharing the message. All right, now, typically when I do a campaign, I'm looking for a 25% email opt-in rate. Sometimes I get higher, sometimes I get lower. But as I am doing campaign after campaign after campaign, my target is 25%. So let's say that's your target. 1,000 people go to your site, go to your capture site, put in their email address, or 1,000 go to the site. Let's say 250 actually opt in. All right. So 25% of the 1,000. Typically, when you run a campaign like this, you'll get 1 to 5% of your opt-ins to actually buy what you're selling or join you in whatever you're wanting them to join in. Now, because the THW Global offer is a free offer, don't treat it like it's free, but it doesn't cost any money. It's almost like setting up a Facebook account or Twitter account. You did that for free, right? Because they want massive amounts of users. So they lowered the bar to nothing so that basically anyone that's 18 or over can set up an account. Because it's a free offer, we'll probably see conversion rates on the higher end, meaning instead of 1%, probably 4 or 5%. I'm going to use 4% for nice round numbers, okay? All right, so here you go. You have 1,000 click campaign. 1,000 people view your site. Give me just a moment. Bear with me. Bear with me, I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. Okay, so you have 1,000 click campaign. You get 25% of the folks to actually opt in to an email list. And let's say that of the 250 that opted in, 4% saw the message, heard the message enough and said, okay, I'm going to register. And they register through your link. That would give you 10 new users, 10 new folks that you don't know, came from what we call the cold market, that just joined you. So those of you who say, I don't have any friends left, nobody wants to listen to me. When I go on Facebook, all my Facebook friends, they leave. Well, what we want to get you to is building a long-term sustainable business. And the way you do that is you build a list. And the way you build a list, fast and not slow, is paid traffic. And the way you have paid traffic is you got to pay for it. And the problem for many people is they didn't have a budget so that they could pay for paid traffic. So this is why we're so high on the potential of THW Global, because if a person can sweat equity their way by viewing to generate the capital, to recap back into their business in the form of marketing, the tools, the resources, and the paid traffic, now we can start to scale the business. Because if you had 10 folks, and let's say in a perfect world, they all viewed, and you earn $200 a month, times the 10, there's an extra $2,000 a month. Now all of a sudden, you've got more revenue. You've got your viewing income still coming in at, let's say, $1,000 a month. Could be less, obviously, depending on the country you're in. Let's say here you've got an extra $2,000 a month. We will now share with you in our trainings, what do you do with that $2,000? Do you put it all in your pocket? No. You're going to put a good sum in your pocket, but you're going to take a percentage of that, a minimum of 25% of that, and you're going to do what? Scale up your advertising. Isn't that what big business does? Isn't that what they do? They scale up their advertising. Why? So they can reach more people. And now all of a sudden, you will start building a culture of people not just joining you, but viewing to get the maximum amount of income they can make from the viewing income. Then you're going to have people buying into this message that's going to recap their businesses, but their businesses are part of your business. And so now they're going to start building their own list, and they're going to start getting users. And those users are going to start viewing, and a percentage of those are going to hear this same message. And so you may not have a team as large as some other folks, but you're going to have a very strong team. And there will be some of you that won't have a team as large as other folks, but you'll make more money because the people that are drawn to you have heard a more in-depth message than just up to $25 an hour. Up to just $25 an hour, register for free, that'll get you some people registering. But what you want is you want to build a long-term sustainable business where people are going to do business with you, not just in THW Global, but people will do business with you for years and years to come. Just like my buddy who sent me this information about THW Global. Because I did business with him years ago and it was profitable, I'm now open to anything he ever talks about. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it, but I'm open to it. And because I registered through him, and we've got 5 figures in our team right now, this dude stands to make a ton of money. And that's what we want to have happen for you. All right, I am over my time. This coming Thursday night will be training night, where we start to not just give you this concept, but we start to walk you through practically how do we help you start to build your business. Again, our objective is to assist you in building a long-term, sustainable business with multiple income streams across multiple niches so that you have the financial and the time freedom to hotly pursue the passions of your heart. I want your gifts. Don't you go to the grave with those gifts in you. Don't you be selfish. I want your gifts, but I need for you to have financial wherewithal, to have the time so that you can give the world, including me, all those gifts that the universe put in you when you were put on this earth. I want your gifts. My children, my unborn grandchildren need your gifts, but you have to have a level of financial security so you've got the time freedom so that you can hotly pursue the passions of your heart. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been my pleasure to be with you. We're going to have an optional Q&A. And what I'm going to do real quickly is I want to just check on my wife real quickly and make sure she's okay. She was in the hospital for a couple of days, nothing major, but she just came home today. So I just want to go downstairs real quickly, check on her, make sure she's okay, and then we're going to go into an optional Q&A. Queen, I have a little time, so I can go down to 30 minutes past the hour. So give me just a moment. I'll be right back. This will be a great time for you to put your questions in the questions box. If you're new and you have not registered with THW Global, you're going to get back to the person who referred you to THW Global. You're going to register through their link. You're also, after you register, oh gosh, I got to do this real quick. I got to show you this real quickly. I'm sorry, I forgot about this. Okay, so real quick, let me walk you through the process very quick. This is very simple, okay? You're going to get back to the person who referred you. You should see their name up here where it says presented by. You should see their name up there where it says presented by. They might be operating under a business name. All right, so you want to make sure it says presented by and then that person. All right, then what you're going to do, and maybe even if you don't know them, if they got you to this webinar, go on and get to their registration link. You're going to click where it says register now. Now, it's not going to let me do this because I'm not at a valid referral site. I don't want to put up a valid referral site here because I don't want anybody going to the wrong site, okay? I want you to go through your referrer. But it's as simple as opening up actually it's simpler than opening up a Facebook account. Name, email address, what country you're from, username, password, that kind of stuff, all right? Now, once you have registered, you'll be able to log in with your user details. So give me just a moment. I'm going to block out my user details. I'm going to go to where it says log in. Give me a moment. Okay, so now I've logged in. All right, I've logged in. So you're going to register, number one. Number two, once you've logged in, you're going to come down here to where it says Survey Center, and you're going to click Demographic Survey. And there's going to be a survey for you to take. Now, I've already taken mine, but there's going to be a survey for you to take. This is where they're going to get demographic information. They're going to ask you things that you're interested in. When you're answering those questions, the things that you might be interested in, make sure that you're also answering for people in your household. So, for instance, when my wife was filling this out, my wife, is not really into stocks and investing and things of that nature, but her husband is. So she's checking stocks and things of that nature, things that I would have an interest in. Conversely, my wife loves her cooking shows, all right? And, I'm not a chef and I'm not a cooker and anything like that, but there were things that asked about cooking and what have you. So I'm clicking that because I know my wife appreciates those types of things. So don't be too restrictive on the things that you're interested in. Huh? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my son just came and told me that my wife is not feeling well. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and tend to my wife. I won't do the optional Q&A. Let me go and take care of my wife, all right? Love you guys. See you on Thursday. Let's change the world together, starting with yours. Take that survey. Get registered. Take that survey. We'll see you guys. Keep my lovely wife, her name is Karen, in your thoughts and prayers, okay? Let me go and be a husband.